And by January, I said, I'm not going back to work. I'm going to work for myself. And it just wasn't going well. And I just felt so down. I do feel like God was saying it just wasn't your time yet. Then I started looking for a book agent. I was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to get it in advance and then I'm going to be fine. And it just wasn't working. And I just felt like, what is this?
What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Blackprint, providing aspiring black entrepreneurs and business owners the blueprint to start your success story. I'm your host, Darren, and today, guys, I'm joined by a very, very special guest. But before we get into all of that, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's grow the Blackprint community. If you're listening on Apple Music, I shouldn't need to tell you what you have to do. You better be doing it. 5 stars, please. That's all I ask for, guys. Please. Thank you. See how polite I'm being. That's literally it. Well, guys, back to the regular studio today. Obviously, last week we had a nice little comfy velvet sofa, but today I'm back in the home studio. But with that comes a very special guest, author. That's right, I said author, financial well-being coach, the lovely Bola Sol.
What a nice intro. Seriously, I'm going to clip this. And anytime I'm asked to get on another podcast, I'm going to be like, do you see the way he introed me? Do you see the way he had my products laid out? This is now the standard.
Hey, guys, you heard it here first. The Blackprint is now the standard on how podcasting should be done, or particularly interviewing podcasting should be done. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries.
Well, how are you?
I'm good. Despite it currently raining, I'm in such a good mood recently. Obviously, my book came out this month, so that's a reason to be in a good mood as well. I feel very content with life, and I feel very grateful.
I like the sound of that. And of course, we have your book here for show, so that people can see, visualize it, and we of course will come on to that. But for now, for those that don't necessarily know what an author is, or for those that don't know what a financial well-being coach is, could you just run us through a little introduction as to who you are, what you do?
Yeah.
Those that have been living under a rock for the last God knows how long.
So for the last 5-6 years now, after I went to university, I studied maths and finance, and then I felt like I didn't want to be a financial advisor or wealth manager just yet, because I felt like, how many people from my community am I actually going to serve? How many people are going to look like me, whether they're a woman, whether they're black? So I said there has to be an interim, and no one's really covering that interim in terms of personal finance. I want to cover that interim. And I found more how much financial health is linked to like mental health and things like that. So that's why I talk about financial well-being. It's so important to put the two together, because I've seen people have anxiety and how much it affects their emotions and their mood. So I came up with the name financial well-being coach. I used to be a personal finance guru, but I found the term became very popular. More people started to pop out of the woodworks and do the same thing. So I want to continue to differentiate myself in my business. So I did. And I'm now an author. So for the last, funny enough, I think just a little over 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to write a book. And I was looking for an agent. I found an agent. And then, Murky Books hollered at me in January last year. And we made it happen.
Wow. You know, it's funny, you actually ticks off like 5 of my questions in one answer.
But do you know, I didn't want to give away too much, but because there's so much more in detail. But I was just like, yeah. I'm sure you'll get into that.
This isn't your first radio, is it?
No, it's not. Thank God.
No, perfect. Okay, cool. So we will start from the start. We'll start from the beginning.
Let's go.
So you said you studied
maths and finance
at university, and so coming out, you was like, okay, you want to help people, but financial advice potentially might not be, because obviously I explained to you earlier that I had a conversation with Emmanuel, and he was actually saying something similar, that as he was climbing up the ranks within Barclays and stuff, that he was seeing less and less people that kind of looked like us, if you like. And so it's interesting that you picked up on that very early on, and you said, how can I help people? And so you went into financial well-being, right? And so coming out of uni, did you go into work, or was it like straight away you were like, I know that this is what I want to do? And so
no,
you started
I didn't know at first. So I finished uni at 22, and my first job was in a care home.
Okay.
So I worked in the accounting department, and I remember somebody actually came and said to me, they were like, you're too young to work here. You need to go and work in the city. So I worked there for 5 or 6 months. Then I got a job in the city, and I worked for Lloyd's for a bit, and then I worked for Lloyd's for a bit. Then I went to work in one of the big four, big financial four, for 4 years after that. So I did this alongside, so like I built Refine Currency's website alongside working full time. I actually took a night job, so there was a role to work at night, so I was contracting, and it was 3 days. From what days? I think it was Tuesday, Thursday. So you come in on Tuesday and you start at 6 or 7 p.m. and then you leave at 6 a.m.
Wow.
And that was really hard. I think it was so hard, and I don't want to say it was stupid, because what I was doing on the other days was working on my business. When I couldn't sleep, I was writing articles, building up Refine Currency. I started the Bola Sol show. So for me, it was perfect. I was only working 3 days. I still had something good on my CV to say that I worked there, and I could still work on my own thing.
Nice. And so, sorry, the Refine Currency, what was that?
Refine Currencies, that's my first blog that I made. It was all about finances, getting rid of the jargon. I didn't want it to be like Financial Times. I wanted it to be a safe space where people can go and read up about money and understand certain things.
And what year was that? Sorry.
Oh, good question. I was like, oh, you caught me off there. 2015. That's why it's now almost 6 years. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 2015, you started Refine Currency.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, I'm gonna enter this space, and that was kind of a way for you to kind of get your name out there, right? And kind of, okay, cool. And so what came next then? 2015, you started Refine Currency. How was the blog going at first, and then at what point did you start transitioning that into the Bola Sol show? Sorry.
So it was, I think I just continued to write, and then Twitter was still somewhat new. It was like maybe 5 years old. Then I'd been on Twitter since 2010, so when I was in uni, and people started asking me, hey, would you come and speak at this event and stuff. So I used to say, I don't think we talk about money enough. So that was kind of what was being said back in the day.
What type of events were these? Sorry, were they like uni events, or
not
just
necessarily? Not necessarily. Some of them were uni events, but some were like, because I was young in the corporate world, and so many of us were, they would have events after work. Yeah. So I remember speaking at like the London Stock Exchange with the Weekend Community, WCAN. There was so many, but that's the one I can think of off the top of my head. I was just asked to speak at quite a few events about money and personal finance, and it just continued to grow from there, really. The Bola Sol show is quite different. That was different topics. So I always said 2 things that I'm really into is personal finance and personal development. Okay. Those have always been like my 2 remits, and I wanted, once again, a safe space for us as a community to talk about certain issues. So we spoke about everything from like daddy issues to money to women, sex and numbers. So it was that was completely different from the finance stuff, and I'm glad I did it. And I definitely don't want to say like it's dead, because I still speak with my managers about what we're going to do, but it's really hard to do consistently. It costs so much money, but I believed in it, and I'm glad I did, because it got a lot of attention. People from the BBC started contacting me, and it's one of the things that I use as like a digital CV. If a company says, how confident are you in front of the camera, then I can just say to them, look at this, I filmed this, it was in front of 100 people, and it wasn't staged. Yeah. And so that's interesting, actually, because with the Bola Sol show, when you started it, was it always in front of an audience? Yeah. So I remember my friend. Yeah, I remember so well, because I was leaving one job to go to another, and my friend sent me this podcast, The Making of Oprah Winfrey, and he sent it, and I was just like, oh, okay. So I was at work one day, and I started listening to the podcast, and I was like, this is great. And I remember him saying, it's a shame. No, I think I said to him, it's a shame we don't have anything to continue it on. And he said, we have to kind of be the difference we want to see. And if we want to continue things on, it has to be us. And I thought, And then I literally just said, okay, God, if this is something you want me to do, like, I'm going to need like stronger signs. And then I can't remember what the second one was, but the third one was a girl I worked with. Funnily enough, her name was Rebecca as well. And a girl I worked with, and she was leaving to go back to Cardiff. And then she just turned to me and she said, I don't think you should be working here. And I'm thinking, you don't pay my bills. But for real, she was just like, I don't think you should be working here. She was just like, I think I see you more as some form of presenter. And I was thinking, you don't know, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I haven't launched it, I haven't told anyone. And then I remembered on October 1st, I announced it. I did a photo shoot because I've always said my 20s were for me and my ambitions. Yeah. That's what I always said. And on October 1st, I think it was 2017 now, I said, I'm doing a show. It's called the Bola Sol show. And I just gave a little paragraph about what it's going to be. People didn't know what the topics were. And in like 3 days, it sold out. It was crazy. So, and I said to people, you're going to be filmed. 100 people came. I said, you're going to be filmed. And we had, one camera just behind the curtain, another camera behind the curtain, and two cameras in front of me. Had a sound engineer. And we just made it work. And people were like, when is this going to be again? But it was so costly, but I wanted it at a high level. Yeah. And I'm still glad that I did that. And there were so many things like, oh man, I can't afford a set designer right now. So then I saw this idea with boxes. So I went out of my way to find boxes that were of the same height and length. I'm getting L times W. I couldn't get length, width. That's what I'm looking for. L times W. And I found it and basically turned it on its side and used reflector lights to make it look different. And people were saying it looks like the Wendy Williams setup. Saw my sister's yellow chair from IKEA, and me and my friends would like wrap bin bags around it and stuff and she was like, don't get anything on it. So I always used to be like, and we did that for 2 seasons. Then season 3 was like more of a sit down, but I think I just want to continue to do it. I definitely want to bring it back this year, but do it in different ways. So I'm playing with different formats in my head.
Wow. I think the fact that you managed to sell out your very first one, that is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. Yeah. Congratulations on that. Thank you. And so when you started it then, what was, I know you said it was kind of sit down, obviously have conversations about varying topics. What was the very first topic about?
The very first topic that came out was daddy issues. Okay. And that was a big one on YouTube as well. And it also meant a lot of people contacted me and said that they're going to contact their dad and speak with their dad about things. So many people were open and honest, saying, some people saying that their dad came from a very hard place. Some people saying that they saw their dad abuse their mum and they don't want to be like that. And we just spoke about the importance of openness. And then we had some other subjects, black men and like vulnerability and masculinity as well. That was really key. The angry black woman. So season 1 was all about stereotypes. It was all about stereotypes.
Yeah, nice. And that season 1 was how many episodes?
5.
Wow. Yeah. And everyone got sold out.
Yeah. So here's what we did. So I rented Peckham Theatre for one day. When I think about it, it was quite expensive. But I was just like,
you just had a vision.
Yeah, and it was also a case where I said to myself, I saw people like buying houses and whatever and maybe like getting married, but I was like, hopefully that will still be there for me in my 30s. I was like, I want to have fun and I want to have ideas and see them come to life. So yeah, so basically I had Peckham Theatre on one day, on like a Saturday, and I'd set up on Friday, and then we just test everything out with the crew. But what we do is it was from 11 till 5 p.m. So basically we just cut it and made it look, and we made people switch seats. I switched outfits. It was I don't know, just made it work.
To be honest, that's a very good insight though for people that might want to go into some sort of production of something. At least now they know that that's how things are done. Do you get what I mean? Like that, to be honest, I should probably look into it.
Yeah, the thing is though, it's keeping up with the energy. I was so nervous that my friends went to get me alcohol, so I had Prosecco. The thing that was then hard was I was coming down on the Prosecco, and then the director and cameraman was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was coming down." But just think about your energy and your levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's I might need to start doing that with this. But my problem is exactly as you said, like, trust me, by the time we finish this recording this one, I'll probably go to sleep. I'm so tired by the end of these things that it's mad.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy. Even when we do the podcast, the last 3 digits, that's on a Wednesday, and we put out the episode on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we put that out straight away, and now I've started doing the editing. I'm now having to match the audio with the visuals and all of that. So then Thursday is always like a big day.
So as of right now, then, from that whole journey and experience, what did you learn from all of that, from putting the show on and even from the conversations or whatnot? Not necessarily in terms of specific conversations, but what did you learn from the experience that you've been using in your kind of life now as a
it was my
person?
first introduction to people looking at me doing more TV stuff. And I learned that 99% of, no, not maybe 99, but like 90% of the things that you think may happen in TV and production don't.
Really?
So it kind of going towards like you having a show, etc., etc. They don't, and that's not necessarily on you. It's just about what they have time for, how sure they'll be that it will work, what execs think, etc. So there were times where like big companies would be interested in, like, oh my gosh, this and that, I'm gonna be on this, I'm gonna be on that, and then it doesn't happen. But I've learned to take the good with the bad and more depend on myself. And I think that's why it's great to be in an age of YouTube. I always say, while you can, continue to make your own content, make it work for you.
Nice. And so, sorry, let me just quickly reset. So in terms of everything you do now, what keeps you busy right now? So you've got, obviously you just finished the book.
Yeah.
You're a financial wellbeing coach.
Yeah.
You do the 3 Digits podcast.
Yeah.
What else? Is there anything else?
No, currently that's it. So being a financial wellbeing coach, currently I do a lot of private workshops behind the scenes. I just finished doing some with Amazon. So in January, it was like a press run for the book. I've got some more articles to put out. I'm trying to grow Rich Girl Chronicles. So that's like a money accountability group where I get people in the right place with their money. And yeah, that's really it. Funnily enough, I'm having a meeting with my team to look at like maybe what I want to do next and stuff like that. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we'll pick into that a little bit more towards the end. You don't have to disclose everything, obviously, but that'll be interesting to hear. But in terms of then, so with the financial wellbeing coaching side of things, talk to me about that then. So when did you officially make that a thing?
Maybe 2 years ago. I'd probably say more looking at 3 years ago. It came to a point where I was doing events. Obviously, I had a full-time job, and then I was asking someone who helped me build Refine Currency, like she'd come to events with me, and she would talk, etc., etc. The issue now became people were like, we want coaching. And I was just like, I'm not qualified or whatever.
Sorry to interrupt, just quickly. So with Refine Currency, you were actually, it kind of moved away from just a blog to you were getting...
So like, it wasn't just now speaking gigs. I know some people in the personal finance world that were making like money, and it was weird because some of them were doing it full time, and I was kind of like, how is this working? And I kind of felt a little shut out, like nobody really wanted to tell me, maybe because they're worried about what it would mean for their own
competition
money.
and stuff,
competition. So I was like, okay, let me just continue doing my own thing.
Yeah.
But I would now get speaking opportunities, and after people would be like, do you do any coaching? So I was just like, fine, I'm just going to start coaching. And it was hard because professionals, there's so many titles because of how the corporate world has made it.
Yeah.
So when you basically make up this, oh, you're a financial wellness coach, it doesn't come with any credibility. Even if I say I studied maths and finance, because there's people who's personal finance gurus or whatever, they haven't come from that background.
Yeah.
Even look at Martin Lewis. I think he studied like philosophy or history or something like that, and he's built this. So it's very different. Yeah, I just had to bite the bullet and start coaching people. And at first it wasn't very easy and it wasn't very profitable. But over time I said, I need to build a membership model and just make it monthly. Because at first people were coming, they were paying an amount for 5 weeks being in a group. It was so much admin. But then I realized the importance of building a relationship with people and seeing how they grow over time. So with Rich Girl Chronicles, people tend to stay for anything from 6 to 9 months. And what I want to see is, how are you handling your money how are you handling any debt or credit you have? Are you budgeting? Are you really saving for the future? Like, what's the plan? You've set a budget. Are you going over? Where are you impulsive spending? Why? And why, and stuff like that, and just work on it. And I find after anything between 6 to 9 months, people are ready to go. In my eyes, they've graduated. And then we go again.
Yeah, nice. And so, okay, so it very much sounds like, so the blog was kind of almost like the catalyst to everything, and then kind of everything stems from that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's very interesting. And so when it came to the blogs then, how were you, or how did you feel confident enough to actually start putting stuff out there and kind of promoting it? Because I imagine for people in that type of space, especially if you're giving advice and stuff, confidence could be a very big kind of thing, and it's something that's obviously required. Were you just naturally confident, or was it something that you were spurred on by friends, or how did that look in terms of actually starting that blog then?
Yeah, definitely a mix of both, like spurring on from friends, and even friends saying that they go on the website and they learnt this, they learnt that, and I was just like, okay, this is great. If my friends are getting use out of it, then hopefully others are. But I think that's the great thing about the internet, because you are kind of behind a screen. There, it's not this constant checking, and you're not seeing people's live reactions. Let me tell you what's hard is getting up and being on stage and seeing someone sleeping in the crowd, because for all you know, it could have nothing to do with you, and most times it doesn't. That person's probably tired. It doesn't happen often, but I remember it happened once, and I just thought, bless him, I think this guy's really tired. But then it's like, then your mental goes into checking, is he awake, is he not? But no, I felt naturally confident, and I think that grew over time, because I kept saying to myself, like, no, Bola, like, you know this stuff, this isn't, you know this stuff and you learn it. And at first it was kind of hard. I can't remember why. I felt like I was getting certain facts wrong, but if I was on a panel, I would fact check and be like, is that right? I'd make sure of my sources if I was saying something. So it comes over time. But then more than anything, I just learned I'm human. If I forget something or I get something wrong, I used to confuse the wording of standing orders and direct debits all the time. I know they're two different things, but
they're fairly similar though, isn't it?
Kind of, exactly. A bank takes
fairly
one,
similar,
you do the other. But apart from that, you grow with confidence over time.
Yeah. Nah, okay, then. I think that's an important point then, and I like that a lot. And so, okay, cool. So, the blog's giving you all these opportunities and stuff, and you're going on, or you're a panelist on certain shows and stuff. And then people are asking you, do you provide coaching? Was for you, when you got the question enough, was it a case of, I'll do it then? Or again, did that require kind of, should I do it? Was I imagine, was that necessarily always in the plan to provide coaching?
No, it wasn't. So I think it took 3 to 6 months for me to just say, should we do it? Should we not? And then it was really hard, because I wanted to bring in the people who had started with me, but people kind of only wanted me because I was the face of the brand, and that was hard. Because there were times where I felt like the people on my team were smarter than me, and I think that's also really important to have. But people were like, no, we want you, and stuff like that. So I was like, right, okay. But yeah, I think I just started it, and at first it was tough. I thought, well, people really want to give me this information, but I just make it very clear, look, it's confidential, it's not going anywhere. And yeah, that was it. And what was great is when they wanted to maybe get to another level, that's when I would maybe say, get in touch with Emmanuel and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, nice.
Because a lot of people like to jump to the next level, which is, I want to get into investments, and I'm like, have you cleared your debt? Is your credit score good? You got an emergency fund? Any savings?
Let's rethink that one. No, fair. Okay, cool. And so, what do you? If somebody comes to you and says, okay, I need coaching, essentially, kind of, what do you offer them? What do you do?
Yeah, so the first step is I go through a questionnaire and I ask them particular questions, anything from, do you have dependents? Do you have a mortgage? Talk to me, what are your goals? Do you have debt? Do you have any credit cards? Any loans? And we kind of just go through that kind of financial check. And then from their goals, I'm like, right, where do they need to be? And I'm like, is there anything I need to know? Because sometimes people aren't all the way honest, and that doesn't help. So for example, if someone's just like, they won't tell you certain things, and then could be 3 sessions in the back, oh yeah, I have an IVA. I wish you would have said that sooner.
Yeah.
It's just good to know, because then some people may do this thing where they'll tell me maybe where they are with their credit, and they'll say they don't know why they can't get it past a certain point, and I'll say, because you haven't told me everything. And then it's for me to help them break down, this is what this means, this is how long this is on your record, and stuff like that, and give them the best advice going forward. Because like I said, I never want people to be in a space of anxiety.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to tell them this is the circumstance, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
What you now need to do is ensure that you stay on top of your bills.
Yeah. And you very much, I guess, coach them through
Yeah.
improving their financial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because my hope is that even if, you know, you stop sessions for whatever reason, you continue on and you're continuing to make good decisions.
Yeah. And then they graduate, and then they some of them who are in the right place to say, okay, now that I've got my finances in check and I want to invest, and we say,
Yeah.
the person for you on that one.
Yeah.
And then,
So
yeah.
you go from there, and you know, there's a great guy now called Debadan Osakita. He runs Stock Pickers Academy, so he teaches.
I literally heard
people,
about him the other day.
Yeah, he teaches people how to invest as well, which is great, because I don't want to get into too much investing. There's active investing and passive, and it's up to you to choose which how you'd like to do it.
Yeah. And so just again, because I remember I was having this conversation with Emmanuel, but I want to get your experience on this as well.
Okay.
And it's talking about kind of when corporations or companies come to you and say they want your services, for example. And this actually was all stemmed because that week actually was when it came on that Tiffany Haddish and the whole Tiffany Haddish and the Grammy situation, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
obviously them not wanting to pay her and all that type of stuff. So it's kind of,
Shocking.
yeah. So I just wanted to kind of get your experience, if you've had anything similar, or your take on that.
Yeah, I have those experiences.
Mm.
One thing I've learned is I just shout behind closed doors.
Okay.
And I speak, or like, I say how I really feel to my manager and my team, and that's translated back. But the great thing about now having a manager is she does not play that. She's just like, first she would just lay out my whole CV and then she'll come back to me and be like, they've got a number now. And I'm like, I bet they do. I just think it's people piss taking, people not seeing your worth.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel, especially as a black person, and more importantly, a black woman, you have to see it for yourself, what you bring to the table. And don't let anyone discount that, even sometimes in the name of community or sisterhood. Because someone actually hit me up. A company, a small business that I worked with a couple of years ago, and I did something and I thought, this is great, you know. And I get at a time you're building up your CV, but now I'm sorry, like I've written a book, I've been listed on Forbes. You're not gonna play me like that, because there's a difference in things. Like when you do, is it like PR or whatever? It's not the same. You don't do that. You don't expect anything. Podcasts, interviews, anything, radio. You don't expect anything. But I just felt, you know, you can't offer me anything. And what I didn't like is I think they had someone else in charge now, so they couldn't remember that we worked together. And they were like, would you do this for free and stuff? And I was just like, no, because at times it's not about the money, it's the principle. Yeah. You know, do you see my worth? Because people have to be really careful when your profile starts to increase, because what happens is some people, you say yes to one thing, they'll just stick your face everywhere and be like, oh yes, this and that. So you have to be really careful. Yeah, no, I can imagine that's difficult actually, especially because once you've done that, kind of it's almost out of your hands, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost out of your hands. And so you actually mentioned something that I wanted to ask you a question on, and it was about when you were talking about how you wanted to bring some people that were with you along from the start of the journey, and you might have to have conversations with them about not being able to do that. How did that happen, or how did you go about that conversations, and how are you feeling around that whole time and stuff like that? Well, the two of them, they have their own things going on. You know, one is a pharmacist, one works in finance as well, so it's not it's not a big thing. I try to go out of my way to support them, see if there's anything I can do. Every now and again, I've actually given both of them shares in one of my companies. So I say, if anything happens one day, if someone tries to buy it out or whatever, like for your, you're good. You're good. That was really important to me. So, and I just just talk to them, see how they are. We talk about everything money wise and what we're investing in and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's out there. Yeah.
Okay. So okay, fine.
But I'm always very honest and transparent. You know, there was a time I felt quite guilty. I felt like I was getting a lot of the attention for being out there, but then so that it was like my success alone. But then I was the only one who kind of not wanted to. I don't know if wanted is the right word, but I was the only one who chose to be out there.
Yeah.
And was confident enough. And I spoke to some of them and they really loved their privacy. So I was just like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And,
so it almost softened the blow in a sense. That it made the conversation easier, type of thing. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Okay, cool. So let's talk about what's in front of us. Let's talk about what's in front of us. This how to save it, fix your finances. Bola Sol. Forward by Moneybox. I didn't actually clock that.
Yeah. I did some stuff with Moneybox the other day actually on their Instagram.
Nice.
That was good.
So talk to me. How just talk to me.
I kid you not. What year was it? 2019. I actually put Murky on my vision board.
Really?
I kid you not. I put them on my vision board. I had all these ideas. I think I've still got it at home. I had all these ideas and I was like, yeah. And it was funny because I felt like I was going to get a book deal. But then, so 2 years ago, it's weird because 2 years ago, I decided they were basically kind of doing like a contract was ending and they were moving everyone to a new site. Not everyone, some people if you wanted to go, but contracts were ending. So I left in December and by January I said, I'm not going back to work. I'm going to work for myself. And it just wasn't going well. And I just felt so down. I do feel like God was saying it just wasn't your time yet. Then I started looking for a book agent. I was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to get it in advance and then I'm going to be fine. And it just wasn't working. And I just felt like, what is this?
But sorry, at this stage, had you started writing what would have been a book or anything?
No. Oh. The thing about just writing a book is you have to be careful, especially when it's like non-fiction, because when you get a book deal that's not non-fiction, you kind of have to, with the editors, decide on the skeleton, which is the outline of the book. So you can't just be there. I wasn't going to spend my time willy-nilly just writing. Yeah,
especially if they can just...
So I was literally like, right, okay, what am I going to do? I got an agent. I spoke with different agents. Then I got an agent that I liked. And I remember doing a mentorship program. And then one day we were in a particular place that they lent them the space. And I said, is this a Penguin studio? And they were like, no, but Penguin have this floor. Because I just remember looking outside and I couldn't help but notice like all these books and it was all Penguin.
Okay.
And I was just like, what? And I just kept feeling like it was a sign. And I was like, I'm going to get a book deal with Penguin. I couldn't explain it. It was like, this book thing is one of the weirdest things. And then literally in like April, I decided I was going back to work because I was just like, I feel like nothing is working. So then I was going back to work and then, of course, you go back to work and then things start working again.
Classic.
Literally. You just can't win. And... what day was it? So then my agent was like to me, what we're going to do, we're going to get 2 book deals. We're going to get one, we're going to do this. I said, how are you talking about 2 book deals? We don't have one. I was thinking, this lady is crazy. But at the same time, this is
energy,
her industry. Though? Yeah, this is her industry. So maybe she knows. And then I remember it was just early January and I just got an email from an editor at Murky and we were like, we want you to write a book. And Murky's under Penguin.
Ah, you see?
So I was like, this is... nuts, like thinking, God, you really heard me. So then me and my agent we got into negotiations and then of course the pandemic started. So that kind of threw things back a little but not too much. And I think, funnily enough, the pandemic gave me a bit of anxiety. I was just like, we don't even know what the world's going to look like when this comes out. But I think it was as they say, a necessary evil. Yeah. A lot of people so far have said that they've enjoyed the book and stuff like that and they need to get into a good place with their finances. So. Yeah.
No, that is amazing. Sorry, so that when you mentioned the fact your vision board, right? If you watch the episode that comes up before this one, you'll know why I reacted the way I did, because this is literally last week I shot an episode and let's just say she was also an advocate for vision boarding,
Yeah.
and that's a whole different story. Another a very interesting one. But so when you said vision boards, it's like, wow, people really like vision boarding. Actually, is working out here. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's a thing.
that is mad. But listen, congratulations though. That is
Thank you.
that is
Thank you.
very, very big. I mean, I've got it right here. I mean, as I did mention to it earlier, I do still need to go through it.
Yeah.
I've been very busy, and to be fair, you got delivered the other day.
Yeah. It's got 7 main chapters. So it the first chapter is about like mindset and budgeting. Then it goes into like mindset, budgeting, saving, credit, debt, well-being, investing, and then well-being last, because I've always said that that's something that's been really important to me. It's funny because have you ever found that like you have a job and you're working a lot, and when I'm working a lot and I'm out and about working a lot is when I spend the most money, because back in the day we used to be out the house. So I cannot believe how we used to live. I cannot believe how we used to live.
Well, when we were kids? Or...
No, like a couple of years ago.
How were you living a couple of years ago?
Okay, you get up, let's just say, ain't nobody get up at 7:30. Let's just say you get up at 6:30, whatever, you do whatever you need to do first. By 7:30, you kind of want to be out of your house or getting ready to leave your house. Then you go out, maybe it's raining, you got your umbrella, might as well grab breakfast on the way or get it there. You get to work, you try to get to work and make sure you're at your desk by 9 o'clock. And then you're working, let's go out and have lunch. And then come back and then you're working. Let me stay a little later. If I stay a little later today, then it all adds up to me leaving a little earlier on Friday or something. Oh, let's go out for work drinks or find someone. Oh, yeah, let's go for dinner. I haven't caught up with that person. Yeah. We were always on the go.
Yeah, no, okay, no.
And I think that results in spending more money and not being able to track where your money's actually going. Yeah. So it's been a pleasure to slow down. And that's what I talk about in the final chapter. Like, when you have too much going on, you cannot mind your money because you're just, hopefully you're thriving, but you just can't keep a record of everything happening.
Yeah, no, that's good. So people, make sure you go out and you get this book right here. Available, I think I got it off Amazon.
Waterstones, yeah. I gave Waterstones quite a bit of love before I put it on Amazon, because it was so important to me that Jeff Bezos is mad rich. Like, he's now number 2 in it because Elon Musk has come and dusted him out of the way. But I was just like, it's enough. But I know a lot of people have Amazon Prime, but I was just like, we got to show some love to Waterstones as well.
Yeah, no, look at that. I like that, the fact that you're able to say, show some love to Amazon, a bit of love to Waterstones. Come on, that is I like that a lot. But so talk to me about the kind of the process of writing the book then. Like, I imagine it was late nights, maybe even sleepless nights, or was it quite calm? Was it how long did you spend writing it?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah. At first it was funny because when it was like the all clear and ready to go, I was like, I have nothing to say.
You spent all this time hyping up, I'm going to write this book, and now it's like, ooh.
I told all my friends before a word was on that, I was going to say typewriter like it's the old days, before it was on the Word document. Yeah. So I'm going to write this book, this is right. Then it was me in the room, the screen was staring back at me, the blank screen.
Writer's block from the first second.
It's so easy to get like imposter syndrome. I think, am I the right person to write this book? Am I the right person to do X, Y, and Z? But then I just started going, because I just said, listen, it will be your first draft. Thank God you have someone else who's going to look over it and highlight certain things that they think and give you their feedback. I'm happy it wasn't a long book, because when it comes to finance, nothing is more daunting than like these really big books. So I just wrote, when we broke it down into the outline, and just kept it going. Like, and obviously it was a lot of late nights. I've got a membership at WeWork, so it was a lot of going there, being there till like 10. But then I was maybe going in at like 11 or 12 each day. And it was just, it's hard because you can't, especially with money, you can't ramble. You want it to mean something, and you want the impact to mean so much. So and then what was obviously hard is certain bits getting taken out, trying to going into more detail of, okay, what does this mean? Because like people are making like little red comments there, like, why have you put this there? Do you want to elaborate on that? Some things like you learn, like, oh, you'll have to pay for that, like I think maybe went into quote one too many lyrics. Didn't think about the costs. I didn't.
It's a good thing you have a team then, eh?
Yeah, they were letting me know. I was like, right, is that how it works? Okay. Yeah, so that was really fun. And you know, you get out the first draft, you feel great. And it's hard because you have to reread your work and reread your work and reread it. But it's imperative that you know the body of your work inside out. Yeah.
And do you think the blog helps in terms of, because obviously you'd spent some time writing financial blogs and stuff?
Definitely. And I have a journal, so I try to write like every day. Okay. I think it's a great habit to have as along with reading.
In terms of your manager and your agent, how did you find them?
Yeah. How did I come across my agent? So I was actually going on literary or websites and looking at their agents and stuff, and then contacting, like reading their bio and seeing which one would work, and then meeting them and seeing if we vibed, if we made sense, did we not, and going from there. So the thing I'll say with an agent is, don't go with the first one that comes to you. Just speak to others and then make a decision. It could still be the first one, but at least you can make a sound decision. Yeah. My manager, funnily enough, an agency came to me, and so did my manager. But luckily, I have friends who are lawyers. And my dad was a lawyer, and his dad was a lawyer. So I always feel like I've got a little bit of that mind to. Yeah, but basically an agency was like, we love what you're doing, and you know, we want to work with you, we want to expand your brand, and they have some great people on their roster. And I was like, okay, great. And I just said, can I see what your contract looks like? So I was looking through their contract, and it was towards the end, I was like, I can't sign this. And really? It was basically saying, if it was like for the first 6 months, let's see a child, but it was basically saying, if I decide to leave within 30 days, if they've helped me get particular campaigns for the next 5 to 10 years, they can continue to receive a percentage. And I think it's something quite a lot of agencies do, to rope you in, and that's how that they can get the clientele themselves. Don't get me wrong, sometimes agencies will get you a better price. They know how to sell you up. But I was just like, I can't sign that. Sorry,
so is 5 to 10 years, is this work that completely separate work that you're doing? They're now saying that.
Yeah,
okay, that's mad.
So I was just like, you can't tell me that in 10 years when I'm nearing my 40s that you're still gonna have this association with me. You're just gonna take your cut and be like, hey, so I was just like, no, I can't be with them. And I was just thinking, have other people read the small print? But I was just like, I don't want to step on anyone's hustle. Maybe they've seen it, maybe they're okay with it. But then with my manager, I liked, she's a talent manager, which is great. So she doesn't necessarily fall on the agent stuff. And she approached me, and we've been working together. There was a time when I was just getting too many emails, and me and my team, so like my friend who's a lawyer, we were just like, we can't handle this, because he was like brokering my deals, and it was really nice, but it just, he's got a full-time job and stuff, and so we were like, we need Brona. So she came along, and she's been absolutely great.
Nice. Wow, that sounds like you've been very busy. Very busy. How have you found it, or how have you managed to juggle everything? How do you keep on top of it, especially kind of like mentally, I guess, because being busy in itself is stressful. So how have you coped? How have you?
Towards the end of the year, I think I started to have a decline in brain cells, and they've just come back.
Really?
Literally, because it came to a point I was in so many meetings, and I was like, they're like, Bola, and I'm just like, mate, what do you want me to say? Having advisors, I have a lot of wise counsel around me, so that helps. But I've become more confident in my decision making for myself. When I needed to focus on the book, my manager was focusing on getting me like work that made sense, in alignment with what I do. And it's just okay to sometimes say, look, I'm overwhelmed, I'm quite busy at the moment and stuff. People shouldn't always have like this access to me, because I think all the time it was overwhelming. Oh, this is great, can you do this? One of the things I always tell people, and I put this on my Instagram like I think 6 months ago, pick the underdog. it's so easy to pick the person shining. I get why it's appealing. Yeah, they're there, they're shining, you can see them clearly. But pick the underdog. That's the person who's coming up and stuff like that. Like, I think we just focus too much on that. Like, you know, after I was listed on Forbes, now people are like, yeah, I still really want you to come and, you know, work with my school or do this. And I'm thinking, that's great. Of course that you would think that for me now. But maybe 2-3 years ago, you weren't really looking for me. So why don't you look for that other person? People are coming up. So I try to, if there's certain opportunities I don't want, I try to put other people on to it.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's good. And I think what you're just saying about the power of saying no as well is a big thing.
Yeah.
Especially, I guess, especially as somebody starting, it's obviously easy to just be like, yes, and just lap on every opportunity that comes your way, right?
Yeah. Got to think about your time, got to think about your energy.
Yeah. And so how do you stay motivated?
I don't always.
Really? Yeah.
And when I don't, I allow myself not to. So I'll be honest, I don't really know how I've done it. I haven't felt very motivated this month sometimes. So I've taken my workload just one day at a time. And I allow myself to have times where all I want to do is watch TV and not read. But then I have these boosts, these surges of, nope, I'm ready to go. What we doing next?
Yeah.
And yeah, allow yourself to have both periods. Life is about balance.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in the past I've been guilty of having too many feelings of wanting to just lounge around and watch TV. But recently I've been getting a lot better.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's quite easy to get into, but then I think as I get older, especially because we're not in traditional education, I'm like, how do I stay educated with myself and keep my mind going? You know what I mean? And sharpen up.
Yeah. Staying
sharp is important to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that actually reminds me, because earlier you said that how your whole thing's always been about personal finance and personal development. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I feel like I'm an old soul. Some of my friends used to be like, you're so boring. Because I used to, we'd want to party and I'd be like, what else are we doing? Do you know what it is? If it's a friend's birthday, I can celebrate to the high heavens because of the emotion I have attached to that person. And if every now and again you want to go out and stuff, I am down to go. But when it becomes a routine, Friday night, we're going on the lash. I say lash again. Not me. And I like to do, I would prefer a games night. I'm more of a homebody.
Yeah.
I prefer that kind of vibe. So, yeah, like personal development. The position I'm in now, I am so grateful for everything I decided to do after uni, even during it, because I was ACS president at one point at university. In college, I was president of the student union. Everything from about 17 up till now has led me to just be the businesswoman that I've wanted to be.
That makes sense.
So now I'm in a place where I can say, like, I can hopefully soon buy an investment house. I can do this, I can do that, I can make decisions. Maybe I'm now looking to get on some more boards and have more board roles, and now I feel great enough to say I can go into my 30s feeling like I'm not starting from zero.
Yeah. Because
we can't take our youth for granted. We shouldn't take our time for granted. So now I'm happy. I feel very content. There's no particular age to start things, but that's not the point. I always said to myself, by the time I decide to, get married, settle down, have babies, I need to be in control of what I do in my day. If I want to work 9 to 5, that's absolutely fine. If I want to be an entrepreneur, that's absolutely fine. But I need to have the choice.
Nice. And so looking back over the journey, is there anything that you look back and say, I probably could have done that differently? Is there anything, not necessarily regret, but is there anything that you look back and say, okay, I learned from that, but I probably could have done that differently going forward? Do you get what I mean? Appreciate I fully put you on the spot there.
No, yeah. I think maybe how I've handled some of my personal relationships.
Okay. Is that because of business or just in general?
I think at times, and my friends have said that I can have like quite a business tone.
Okay.
Even sometimes to friendships and be very black and white. So I've now learned to be, I guess, warmer with my friends, and just come as, if I've dropped by, just drop by as, Bola, who's your friend. And if one of my friends wants to talk about business, I'll be like, well, I'm happy to help with anything, and just be more of a servant in that area of my life. I think I was just not too obsessed, but too fixated on getting my life to be a certain way.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And why didn't you go into law?
I don't know, because
you said your dad's a lawyer. Did you say that's
yeah?
And somebody
my
else
best friend, when we were like 14, she was just like, yeah, you could be a lawyer, because she's like, you're quite good at arguing. I don't know why I didn't, and you never know, I might still do. This life, you just know.
Look at space.
But look at Kim Kardashian. Like, she's like, don't you just find it so fascinating that over the years, God willing, you get to see a particular age, you get to just evolve as you please. You see people, they go from this, 1 minute they're in this, then they're in IT, then they're in law, and then I think that's the way to live. I have so many dreams and ambitions, and why not live them? Live your life. I'll never forget, there was one auntie at church, bless her, and I remember when I graduated, and she said, congratulations on graduating, and she was just like, I studied maths at one point. And then her daughters were like, oh, don't mind her, she's done it all. They were like, yeah, she's done law, she was in finance, she was like, and I just thought, what a sick life. They've traveled, live your life, man. Facts. Live your life.
Facts. If you're gonna do anything, do what makes you happy, right?
For real.
Yeah, nice. Well, no, that's good that you can at least look back, and you seem like you're definitely enjoying yourself. You seem like you've been loving the journey. So it's good to see, and long may that continue. So on that note, what is next for Bola Sol? What's obviously what you can disclose?
I want to write another book.
Nice.
And I don't want it to be non-fiction. I want to see if I can swing for a fiction book. I want it to be centered around finance and feminism and women finding their own feet. I've had a concept in my head for ages, and I would love to see that come to life. So I'm going to speak to my team. I want to get back on YouTube and do more finance videos. I just want to keep running with that while the going's getting good. And this for me is definitely the year I just want to learn more. So I'm going to do a couple courses and just keep it going, really. I feel very blessed to be in a place where I'm just like, I can afford to live how I want and learn in the way I want.
Do you read a lot?
Yes. I haven't read much at the moment because I felt I was obviously too into the book and getting ready for that. But
writing your own book.
But I'm an avid reader, so I want to try to read quite a few books this year. I've got quite a few on Audible, but yeah.
And I imagine there's a lot of, or what you have read, a lot of it's personal development stuff, is it?
Yes, I find it hard to sometimes read fiction.
Really?
Yeah, but
I find I need to break it up sometimes. I can't read too many personal development books in a row, otherwise I'm just like... Yeah.
I feel you on that. I like reading... Okay, so I like reading people's stories. So that's not necessarily personal development, but Shoe Dog.
That's a good book, actually.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is actually from that book.
No way.
I say quote. Basically, the lesson of if you're gonna fail fast.
Yeah.
That was from. I got that from that book.
Yeah. So so there's that.
You know what podcast will be good for you?
What?
The Blackprint.
I didn't expect that. Was so good. I love that you just went. You're so.
Hey, you got to plug yourself in wherever you can, even during the middle of your own podcast. You have to plug yourself.
No, you've got to every single time. But yeah, definitely. What's your favorite book or top 3?
Ooh, top 3. So funny enough, I would have said up until recently, I would have said The Power of Habit. But then finally, as I said, I was sitting down with Timmy and he recommended Atomic Habits. So I read that. And that book, that after I messaged him after a couple of pages, I was like, "Wow, is it like this the whole book?" Because the way my notepad's not gonna be, my notepad's gonna be finished by the time I get to the end of this book.
Yeah, I've actually got that on Audible now, so I'm gonna have a good listen to it. Yeah,
that's a good one. What else? You know what's annoying about me? Because my memory's so bad, I can only ever remember books that I've read recently.
Okay.
So like recently, I did because what I've been trying to do anyway is this whole like almost like a book club type thing with the Blackprint. So every week I'll put up a book that I plan to read that week. And so far this week I've done Atomic Habits, I've done How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Great book.
Yeah, that was actually a good book, to be fair. What I didn't like about it though is just like every chapter was literally story, and then okay, cool, this is the principle. It's like I feel like you could have just kept it to like 2 stories and then and then told me the point
and go on to the principles.
But it was a good book, to be fair. What did I read last year? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Although with that one, I think I read that with the wrong mentality, because in my head I was thinking, okay, what this book is going to do is going to summarize what your Jeff Bezos of the world and your Tim Cooks of the world, what they do, and then tell me these are the 7 habits I need to do every morning, basically. But it was actually very different, and didn't come from that angle. I honestly can't remember what else I've read recently, and I read so many books last year as well. But the thing is, as I say, because I tried to break it up with personal development and fiction. I do like to read fiction as well, just to kind of, the last fiction book I read was it The Girl on the Train, I think it's called.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I think I just heard about it enough. I was just like, yeah, you know what, let me
That curiosity is good, but I know what you mean. You've got to split up. Do you know one of my favorite authors, Chimamanda Adichie? She's great.
What I don't think I've.
She's got Purple Hibiscus, Americana, Half of a Yellow Sun.
Oh, so you all these books? See, that's what I need to do. I need to find one author that I'm like, yeah.
But do you know my favorite book of all time, and I read it when I was in year 10, is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe.
What was that about?
It's basically about the rise and fall of a great man from Nigeria, and how his ego is basically the death of him. I haven't read that. I haven't read the book since year 10, but I still remember. I still remember it enough.
Look at that! I can barely remember what books I read.
I still remember the synopsis enough to be so into it. I might reread it again.
I'm actually going to read that. That sounds interesting.
Very good book.
I was recommended a book.
Tough names in there, but you just get.
I'll just boil it down to initials by the end of it. But I was recommended a book. I mentioned the Clubhouse. In there, someone recommended a book called Unscripted, which apparently I'm probably going to butcher the kind of synopsis of it, but it makes you think about how we set goals and stuff like that. Apparently, which given the nature of the Clubhouse that I was hosting, was I thought were quite relevant. So I'm actually just going through what I have read recently on my Kindle app on my phone. Think and Grow Rich. Well, I don't think I finished that. I need to get back to that one actually.
Richest Man in Babylon is a good book.
I recommended
I actually
that one.
read The Intelligent Investor. Very long book.
I have that on my bookshelf, and just the size of it puts me off.
But one day, I think it was during the pandemic, I said, "Cool, let's do this."
And you got through it.
Got through it, yeah.
I rate that highly. I rate that very highly. One I actually liked to read that I read recently. I've just seen it on here and I completely forgot about it. Russ, the like Italian American rapper Russ. He's got a book called It's All in Your Head, and it's actually a very short read, and this is why I liked it. It's a very short read, and it basically just sits there and tells you everything that you tell yourself about why you can't do this, it's all in your head. And it was just, I prefer the shorter reads, especially when it's as I said with How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book could have been half the size if you just kept to 2 or 3 points and then the principle. And that's what Russ does in his one. It's literally just keeps it to the point, and I actually quite enjoyed that one. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward. So actually, I think my next book I'm going to read is Unscripted. And then what was the one you just said? The
Richest Man in Babylon?
No, the one who you read like 10 years ago in year 10.
Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart. There we go. I'm gonna that would be the one I'm gonna do after.
It's so good. That's a great. Is it fiction or based on a true story? But it's definitely fiction.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Well, look at that. It's all about personal development, eh? And that's what it is.
Not always. Sometimes the personal development is reading fiction.
Yeah. True. Because
imagination is good.
Yeah, that imagination is, and B, also I find I actually learn more words reading fiction books. I don't know if anybody else feels the same with that, but I find whenever I read fiction books, I'm always in a dictionary like, what the hell does this mean? What does that mean? But when I read the personal development, it's usually just quite standard English, isn't it? I guess because you're trying to put a point across that you're trying to, obviously, you want people to understand, right? You don't want people to have to spend half the book reading a dictionary type of thing. But I find when I do read fiction, yeah, that tends to, my vocabulary tends to widen.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. Gonna try that approach.
There we
Get
go.
into fiction more.
There we go. Right. Let's wrap up. Final 2 questions. First, what advice would you give to the aspiring entrepreneur?
Give it time.
Give it time. Okay.
Yes, give it time. Anything you want, it can take a while and it can be so frustrating. Don't despise that process and of small beginnings. Trust me. I think that's one of the first posts I ever wrote on my personal blog. You will get there, but you have to keep trying. Against all odds, it can be tough, but you hopefully you will get that big break. Even in Shoe Dog, you know, the founder of Nike, it took him 9 years in the business of Nike before he decided to go full time. And I think he even paid himself the tiniest salary. I don't know why 18k is in my head. And then his wife fell pregnant, so he even thought about going back and teaching accounting. So look, you don't know where life is going to take you, but don't be worried. Like, yes, I'm going to jump straight into being an entrepreneur. It is not always easy.
No, I like that. And what does success mean to you?
Success means having the time and freedom to do as you please.
Nice. I mean, that's not really much else I can.
What does success mean to you?
Ooh, double 360. Look at that. Just spun it back on me. That, what does success mean to me? Imagine I've asked, what, about 10 people this question now? I don't even know what my answer is. Yeah. Success, I think is kind of similar. I think success is, if I can see the people around me happy, not worried about not necessarily anything, but just things that, or if there is something that I can help them with, that means they don't have to worry about something, and then their life is just 10 times now, maybe they're happy, or I've taken a load off I've taken a weight off their shoulder type of thing. I think if I'm in a position to be able to do that with my loved ones, I think, obviously while in a position that while being in that position myself as well, obviously, being able to do what I want, when I want, kind of as you touched on earlier, if you want to go to work, then you go to work, and because you're going into a role that you want to do, or if you don't want to do. And I think part of that does come down to monetary things, yes, because if I want to be able to travel, for example, and experience the world, then I would love to be able to just do that because I want to. Yeah. Do you get what I mean?
I know some people who, once the pandemic's over, that's what they said they're going to do for the next two years. Don't blame them.
Just travel. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're loading up their money now.
Yeah, you see, there you go. But then I guess, I mean, I don't know what their personal circumstances are like, but I imagine at some point they're going to have to come home and get back to work, or yeah. So I think because again, it's interesting because obviously you just asked me about, or we were just having a conversation about books, for example, and one book that I read, Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. Yeah, great book. That one, yeah, it is. Although some of his things that he's telling you to do, I'm just like, I'm not quite sure I'm going to go to work and tell them I'm not attending meetings because somebody can just summarize it for me. But I mean, one thing that he did kind of change my perception on was the whole idea of retirement. And I don't know why, but up until that book, in my head, it was always just, well, I guess I do know why, because obviously growing up, it was always go get a job, work for X amount of years, and then have enough in the kitty to retire and not have to work again. But he kind of changed my perspective of that, in a sense of why would you spend all the years that you're agile and able to move and you can do what you want, you've got the energy, working for a time to free up all your time in a later age where you can't necessarily do everything, because most people obviously start to experience kind of physical frailties and stuff as they get older and stuff, right? And so kind of if you were to look at it from a general point of view, we spend all of our years up until 60 or 65, whatever the retirement age is now. Yeah.
So mine is 68. That's the earliest I can access my state pension. You want to check yours?
68. This is a madness.
They want us
they
pushing to the end.
Literally. And so, yeah, he kind of changed my perspective on why would we spend up until 68 in this case, kind of just working. When we've got all the energy, we've got all the time, or not all the time, but all the energy that we can do what we want, to then retire and then spend out the rest of our days kind of just not doing much because you can't, and you end up just living to go see your grandkids, for example. And I was like, that's a very good point. And he kind of put it like, why would you not have your own businesses, for example, and you can pick and choose when you want to run it. And even when you're 70, you're still running these businesses, or you can choose whether you want to go and, even if somebody else is managing them and all that, at least if you want to go and check up on the business, you can.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And so that kind of had me thinking about that. And so that's why I kind of made the point about when you said about your friends, I imagine they would have to come back and go to work. It's not necessarily because that's a bad thing or anything, but because
it's the nature of life. We all have to work. It's just about choosing a work you enjoy.
Exactly. And so success, I think, is very much, to me anyway, is being able to provide for my family. Obviously I'm good and I can provide for my family, and then I can make choices that I want to make, not because somebody's telling me I need to do it, or because I'm being pigeonholed into a situation because of money or whatever. Do you get what I mean?
Makes sense. Cool.
Well, thank you for having me on your podcast.
Had to reverse it.
There you go. But perfect. Okay, cool. And actually, I didn't talk about that reminds me, I didn't actually talk about your podcast, the 3 Digits podcast.
The last 3 digits.
The last 3 digits. Sorry, it's the last 3 digits. So talk to me about that. What do you discuss on there? Yeah,
we discuss money and everything in between. With myself, Nigo, True, and Dysonomics. That is, it's almost 1 year old, and it's been a great journey. We've had some fantastic guests, and we've had some great discussions. One of the next discussions we're going to have is this whole GameStop thing, GameStop stock, that's been going crazy, and everything else. Yeah,
there's been I've got one of my friends, I think he's in that stock pickers group chat, and he was he's always just sending, not necessarily sending like whatever, but he's just like, stocks are just going wild right now. I really need to get into this investing game.
People are saying they haven't seen anything like this in like years, decades. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all kinds of mad right now. I need to get into this before it's too late. I guess with stocks, it's never really too late, is it? You can always, it depends on specific stocks maybe, but stocks itself, nice. Okay, cool. And have you got any on that note, actually, have you got any free gems that you can impart as departing words for my listeners here in terms of kind of finance
when it comes to your finances, get organized and stay organized. Like, check your transactions. Anyone owes you money, chase it up. You got a refund from a store, look at it. Don't just leave it and wonder if it came in. Make sure if you've got any direct debits, the right amount is coming out. Make sure that you haggle for your bills. You can get them lower. Get the best interest rate possible on your savings, and get into investing, whether that's through index funds, exchange traded funds, mutual funds, or if you want to do it stock by stock. But make sure you do, you'll get a better return than you will on savings.
Nice. Well, guys, if you need more information on that, then pick up one of these bad boys, How to Save It, Fix Your Finances. If you then need more information, then Bola, please kindly tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, I'll just say now, and YouTube and Twitter, Bola _Sol, BOLA_SOL on Instagram and Twitter, and Bola Sol on YouTube. I'm on the last 3 digits once a week, and that's it.
Nice.
And of course, get a copy of How to Save It.
Get a copy of How to Save It, people. Again, congratulations on that. I still can't believe I'm sat right in front of an author of a book, and soon to be another book.
Fingers crossed to make that.
Hey, we speak that into existence.
But exactly, we have to.
Well, I discovered last week that you can't ask somebody what's on their vision board, but I hope that's on Vision Board 2021.
Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, good. And you're not really supposed to let people see the vision board and stuff like that. But yeah, good to know. Yeah. But it's hard because you never want to obsess over it. it's a tough balance, but it's there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Bola, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I've enjoyed the conversation, and it's been good to hear about how all of this stuff has come into fruition. And so that was inspirational for myself, and I'm sure it will be inspirational for the listeners of this podcast. But yeah, thank you very much.
No worries, thanks.
Guys, there we have it. Another episode in the bag with the lovely Bola Sol, author, financial wellness coach. Bola Sol also podcast. She's a very busy bee.
It's okay. You can stop at author. Don't make me feel.
She's a very busy bee, but she took the time to come and have a conversation with me, and we are very appreciative. So thank you once again.
No worries. My pleasure.
Guys, like I said, make sure you get your hands on one of these books. This will change your life right here. And obviously reach out to Bola if you need more information on anything regarding your finances. But people, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Darren. This has been the Black Prince. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe on that YouTube. And if you listen on Apple Music, please, I'm hoping since the start of this, you gave me this 5 stars. If you haven't, then please do so. Help me organically grow up the charts and get into the ears of other people. But without much further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Darren. This has been the Black Print, and I'll see you next week. Peace.